everybody, Alex Deploy here from Expert Forex, and in this video you're going to be seeing a fantastic EA being traded on a continuous basis and producing phenomenal results. Now what I'm going to be showing here is the extreme power that automated robots using AI, artificial intelligence principles, can have on your trading, especially if they've been created by highly skilled coding experts. Now on your screen you can see some of the trades made by this robot, and as you can see it sells the highs of candles and it buys the lows of the candles. And these blue ones, it may not look like the lows, but remember, when you are buying, the spread is included, so the broker records a transaction with the spread included, but in fact those blues should be on the lows of those candles. And I call them candles because most traders are used to using candles, but in fact this illustration is using bars because we don't need the information that candles provide. So what I'm going to show you is how I trade $5,000 to $1.6 million in an intense trading sprint. But this video will have a timeline that will show you how the trading progresses over that period. Now, most importantly, what you're going to be able to do after this is download a printable copy of the statement of all the trade. Now, the good news is that you can get this robot free as a paid member of our premium forums. It has been there for a while. Members of our forum can download this EA. The EA that they will be downloading is actually a much improved version of about the one you're going to be seeing soon, but it is created out of the same process. Now, as always, clickable links to what I show in this video will be available in the description of the video as well as in the commentary of the video. Okay, so let's move on, and what you're going to be seeing is a video that I made a while ago showing this process and showing the trading. It goes for almost an hour, so please be patient and I'll take you through the whole process of how the $5,000 became $1.6 million. And before we start, just a reminder that you can take part and link your trading account to fantastic robot traders. On your screen you can see some of the accounts you can link to. You can see the returns that are being generated on a monthly basis that you can link to, so that you can translate what you're seeing today in this video to lots of dollars. Hello everybody, Alex Deploy here from Expert Forex, and today I'm going to be trading a Forex trading account to $1 million over the next couple of hours in front of your very eyes. Now this video has three parts. There's the introduction part where there's a bit of a description of what I'm going to be doing. Then there's the actual trading that you will see on a live basis as we go through it. And then at the end there's the conclusion and an analysis of what just happened. It's very important that you watch all three parts of this particular video. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you find it interesting, please share it with your friends. We have over 470 videos published on YouTube at this stage. Now, to create $1 million in a couple of hours takes a lot of coordination of a number of items that have to work together to create this unique situation. Please pay particular attention to what happens in this video to see the true magic and skill involved in creating $1 million. So unfortunately in this introduction part I'm going to go into a few technicalities just to make sure that everybody understands what we're going to be doing. Because we're going to be trading pretty rapidly, we're going to be using a trading robot. Now this robot has been programmed to sell at the top of turning points and to buy at the bottom of turning points. This is an exceptional EA because it can identify those turning points on all time frames, which makes it quite an exceptional EA. It can be used for scalping as well as swing trading. Again, some more information. It basically uses some grid concepts. Now we have over 26 grid trading YouTube videos published. So please use this link to find the grid videos and to view them if you're interested in this particular technique of trading. The EA also uses channel trading, and there are 14 published videos on YouTube which you can look at in respect of channel trading. There's also quite a nice video course on channel trading on Udemy. Because we have to make $1 million in a hurry, I'm going to use the scalping mode of this EA. It can, however, be used on a number of time frames. By the way, this is not an expert Forex EA. It's been written and created by a client who has used many of the concepts used in our EAs and training to create this particular EA. The other aspect that we need to do this is a broker account. Now this is a special broker account. Firstly, the broker must allow EAs to be traded. It must allow scalping. It must have reliable live accounts that mirror demo accounts. For this exercise, it has to have fixed spreads, and it must have a price feed that allows the type of scalping that we're going to be doing today. Okay, let's start trading. On your screen you can see a setup for MT4. We have 4 currencies loaded with the EA on it. The time now is just after the Frankfurt Financial opening, and we're about to trade. So all that's required is for me to activate the auto trading button on MT4. So these currencies have been selected on the basis that they're good for this particular trading technique. You can see it's a mixture of currencies. When the robot starts trading, depending on whether there are any current setups, it might start trading slowly or it might start trading pretty quickly. I'm not quite sure what the current setups are. It does not trade continuously for all the currencies. It waits for the perfect setup and then trades. So I'm going to, without further ado, I'm going to actually just activate trading. There we are. We have 4 smiley faces going. The balance is currently 5,000 USD. So let's see how the trading goes. And the Canadian dollar has opened its first trade. There we are. You can see the prices move pretty quickly on this price feed, this particular price feed. And let's just see what happens. Strangely enough, no other deals have been opened on the other currencies. All right, so we've got another deal that's opened. That's on the euro franc, and that is a buy. So we've got 2 buys on the euro franc and on the Canadian dollars, and out goes the franc deal, the euro franc, and out goes the Canadian. There's our first 2 successful trades for the day. So this is the way trading will progress. It might become pretty boring. I'll just leave this to go on for a while. The markets haven't really created enough volatility for trading to be on a continuous basis, but you can see the deals actually go in and out pretty quickly. And the other thing about this EA, it will increase lots as the trading goes on. So it started with 4 lots per trade, and it will most probably increase that over time as it becomes more and more successful. What it also will do is if it has a couple of negative trades, it will reduce the lot sizing. So it's got the lot sizing intelligence built into it. There's our next transaction, the euro yen, and let's see how that one goes. It's also a buy. The EA tends to trade against the trend, and there we are. We've got another successful deal, 3 successful deals already. Watching it is pretty boring, so I'll leave it on for another 5 minutes, and let's see what happens. But it is it's got quite a good success rate, as you can see so far. All of them have been positive. Let's see if the lot sizing hasn't increased. Strangely enough, it's gone down. But it actually monitors each currency separately, so it will do those kind of things. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm not going to be interfering with, oh look, those are all positive trades that are just coming in all the time. So I'm not going to be interfering with these trades. Now you can see the CAD had started with a lot size of 4, has now gone up to 2.1, so it is increasing quite nicely. The euro yen started with 2.8, it's now up to 2.9, so that's where a lot of the increase comes from, increasing the lots as we carry on. Let's see, are there any open? Oh, there's a lot of open trades going right now. Let's just have a look at what happens. A lot of margin being taken, but we've got enough in our account to handle that kind of margin quite comfortably, especially after the gains that have been made. More transactions being added, to the positive list. Now we've got positive transactions in most of the currencies that we're trading. The pound, the euro pound, the euro yen, the euro CAD, the euro franc, all have generated positive trades. Obviously, this will generate negative trades every now and then. Okay, so we've made $700 on our quest towards $1 million. Let's see how this goes. As you can see, the time for the first deal was 13 minutes past 3 for this particular broker. It is actually 13 minutes past the Frankfurt Open. That's the way I think of it. And we'll have a look at how long it takes to make $1 million. As you can see, the money's just piling in. The lot sizing is increasing all the time. And although this might be a slow start, it looks like it could move quite quickly once it gets going. Remember, trading has only been going for about 5 minutes, so we've already made a almost 20% return on our money. Got a long way to go to get to $1 million, but you won't believe how fast that happens when the lot sizing starts jumping. Euro yen starting to go up nicely in lot sizing, and so far and there we did have a loss. Look at that. So these losses do occur, and we need to be aware that it's not a perfect system, but the losses are pretty small. In general, the gains are 3 pips. The losses in general are around about 2. But with the accuracy level that we have here, we can afford losses of about 6 pips if we want to. So we've made $1,000, or we've almost made $1,000. Oh, there we are. We've just gone to $1,000. What I'm going to do is every major milestone, I'm going to open it up, open up the recording, and we can look at it for about 10 minutes or so. Then I'll close it up and open it up at the next milestone, and so on. Don't worry, the account will be available on FX Blue, so you can see the continuous results. You will be able to see all the results of all the trades, in spite of not seeing the recording for the full couple of hours. It's been an hour since we've last started, and we've had a slow start. The account is only gone up by about 100% at this stage. It is an hour, so it has been a slow start for our march to $1 million. But let's have another look in an hour's time, see if the situation has improved. There have been a few strong trends, which is not always good for this system, but as you can see on the chart here, that the equity is well over 100% improvement within the first hour, and it is slowly looking better and better as time goes on. So we'll have a look at it in about 2 hours time. There have been a few things that I most probably haven't mentioned. The system trades without a stop, but when I say that, it has a roaming stop. So in other words, the stop roams around, and sometimes it can be 5 pips, sometimes it can be 2 pips. It depends on the volatility of the actual market movement that is occurring at the time. So it does trade with a stop. Also, it tends to only open a maximum of 2 trades per currency, so it won't open more than 2 trades per currency. That's just a bit more information on the particular settings that are applied at the moment. And as I said earlier, it will increase the lot sizing quite dramatically as the profitability improves. But it's good to see that we've at least made a 100% return. Let's move on to the next hour and see how that goes. As you can see, the time now is 4:10. The first transaction that was opened on the account was 3:13. So it's just under an hour that's passed. Let's have another look in an hour's time. Okay, now this is the second hour that has been traded. So we've been trading for 2 hours. The first hour we increased the balance from 5,000 to 10,000. There's been a dramatic increase in the second hour all the way to 45,000. The time we started trading was 3:14, I think, and as you can see, it's just over 2 hours of trading. There's the one open transaction that's in place at the moment, and you can see our equity is up to 45,000 from 10,000. So it's been a really good hour, and we almost ahead of budget. I was hoping to create the million in the next 6 to 8 hours. So it's becoming very much a possibility. There's not much more that I can tell you. As you know, the targets are generally of 3 pips. So we've got a 3 pip target, and we have a roaming stop which averages out historically at about 2 or 3 pips. It can go as high as 5 pips, but the success rate is quite good. Let's have a look at the account, the trading account in the last while. As you can see, huge amounts of successes because the lot sizing has increased. The gains have been really good. So we're now sitting with a 40,000 profit on a 5,000 investment. There have been a few losses. As you can see, here's a loss, and here's one. That's actually a break-even transaction. And there have been a few losses, but they are very quickly made up by the high level of of success rate that exists with this particular price feed is quite an active one. You can see the price moves tremendously fast with it. It also makes 1 minute candles of about 3 pips at a time, which is very unusual. So normally, you know, if you compare it with some of the other price feeds, you'll notice that the candles are a little bit smaller. So this particular price feed is a highly sensitive one, and produces quite a lot of volatility. You can see the price is just jumping all over the show. Not much happening at the moment. There are 3 open transactions. And the equity has gone down a little bit, but what we'll do is we'll look at it again in an hour or so, and then see. So we've been trading 2 hours. We've made roughly 1,000% gain. We've gone from having an equity of 5 to an equity of 45. That's about an 800% gain. So not doing too badly so far. Let's see how our march to a million goes a little bit later. When the closer we get to the million, the more I'll leave the charts open for you to have a look how the trading progresses. It is a bit difficult. I will try and narrow the screen down for our next viewing so that you can see everything in a lot more detail. It's difficult for me to fit everything onto the screen and for you to see everything in detail with the current situation. But I will try and move the chart sizing down for more viewing, so that you can see things in a lot more detail. Okay, back again. It's been another hour. We've been trading for 3 hours now. The first hour went from 5,000 to 10,000. Then we jumped from 10,000 to 50,000. And the last jump has been from 50,000 to 100,000. 100,000. So that's the progress that's been made. You can see it's a bit inconsistent. It's a 100% gain, and then a 400% gain, and then another 100% gain. But the gains have been good. There have been quite strong drawdowns in this particular session. If we look at the account, you'll see there have been some some big stops because of some really strong moves in the market. I'm basically trading pretty random. I haven't looked at announcements and things like that, but there have been some strong movements that's caught the trading out a little bit. Equity is now at 100,000. We remember we're on the march to a million. It could happen in the next 2 hours if we have the same growth as we've had before. And I think the screen now displays a little bit clearer, hopefully, for you to see. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it to run for 2 minutes, and then I will pause the recording and come back in about an hour's time. But you can see we're making very good progress to the million. We've traded 3 hours. We're almost there. The thing is that the lot sizing is now becoming quite astronomical. You can see in the short while that I've been talking, $10,000 has been added to the account in that very short while. So I'm going to leave it for just another 2 minutes. No talking. We'll then cut off and come back in about well, the rate at which increases are happening, we're going to get to the million in less than two hours. But let's not count our chickens before they are hatched. Let's just let you watch the trading. Just a note about the trading is that on the whole, the buys happen at the bottom of the candles and the sells happen at the top of the candles. That's the way it's been designed, and sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But if you look at the success rate that we've experienced, it certainly does work in the majority of cases. One of the things that I've also done is I've added this account to the FX Blue statement. I've called it Fast Million because that's where it's going. You can see an analysis of the statements. You can see there the four currencies that we're trading. You can see that the profitability levels or the success rate is quite high. I think the most important thing that I always find of interest is the average winning pip is only about 3 pips. See there? Average winning pips are 3. The average losing pips are a little bit higher, but because of the high success rate, we can afford to have slightly higher pip rates. By the way, we are trading on a 1 pip spread. So it is standard for all currencies, a 1 pip spread. Trading, the trading is still sitting at 110,000 equity. So let's come back in a short while. If it accelerates very quickly, I'll start recording a little bit sooner, but it will most probably be in the next hour that I will continue this recording. Right, back again. We've now been trading for 4 hours, and the increases from $5,000 have been 10,000. The balance went to 10,000 after 1 hour, then to 50,000 after 2 hours. After 3 hours, it went to 100,000, and now at the 4th hour, it has gone to 200,000. So the progress has been steady and good. The lot sizing is going up considerably, but we now can see the million coming closer and closer. On the screen, you can see the transactions and the charts. And just looking at the history, we've made a clear 200,000 profit. Not much that can be said at this stage. As I've pointed out previously, this account has been linked to FX Blue, and we can look at the stats closer to the time that hopefully we'll get to the 1 million mark in the next 2 to 3 hours, if the same progression continues. There is quite a bit of a drawdown occurring at the moment. Sometimes these entries do go the wrong way, and it needs a bit of a fight back. But the system seems to recover quite quickly from any drawdown. The success rate really covers any losses that are made very, very quickly. Currently, you can see two cells that are in trouble here. We've got, I think, a cell on the euro pound. There it is, the cell, and it's going the wrong way. It is building up quite a nice negative balance, but the system will stop it out when it reaches the floating stop. Unfortunately, the charts don't show the floating stop. And the euro franc is in the same position. It's entered a sell. It is in a buy mode at the moment, but it seems to be floating back into the sell mode. So we'll just wait for those to resolve themselves. But the equity is still well over 200,000. And once these type of situations resolve themselves, either by being stopped out or by recovering, they tend to move on to generate successful deals that make these drawdowns disappear into the past very quickly. There we are. There was a stop out. I think it was still negative. Yeah, it must have been that 5. No, it wasn't this. Yes, the euro pound. That was a partial stop out. So that actually looks like a positive one. That's quite amazing that it was positive. It just shows you. Okay, there we are. That's a lot clearer. So the euro pounds seem to have a sell and a buy happening at the same time. Eventually, they cancelled each other out, and that was effectively a break-even situation that developed there. As mentioned earlier, there are normally two entries allowed per currency, no more than 2, and that often happens where the two cancel each other out in an almost hedge situation. Now, already you can see quite a big improvement from just the time that we've been chatting. This is the equity number has moved up quite considerably over the last minute or two that we've been chatting. It tends to move quite quickly when this system starts going. It just keeps on going. It moves pretty quickly. So as I say, we are now in our 5th hour in our march to 1 million, and we are pretty much ahead of schedule. I was anticipating a 6 to 8 hour $1 million march, but it looks like it could possibly happen a lot faster. I might have been too aggressive with my lot sizing adjustments, and that's why the results are improving faster than they should. So I've put in more aggressive settings than I had hoped. Okay, so we'll have a look at the situation again in about an hour's time. Or there are no open deals. It's sitting at equity of 222. Time at the moment, the last deal was at 1731. So in an hour's time, we'll have another look at the progress that's taken place. We can then hopefully guide the trading into a $1 million result. Okay, so this is the next checkup, the hourly checkup. I think we have been going for 5 hours now, but progress has slowed down quite considerably with the gains, and the main reason is that we've hit the broker's maximum lot number. If you look at the closed deals, the most recent closed deals, and you can see they're all nicely positive there. The lot sizing is no longer allowed to increase by the broker, so that's why we make pretty good progress in the beginning, but it is slowing down considerably now because we have that limitation. So that means we must probably, if things go well, that we would be limited to gains of about 100,000 an hour, which means it's going to take slightly longer to reach our million goal. But we'll continue our hourly checkups on that basis to see how the progress goes. But there we are, we're sitting at almost 300,000. We've got still 700,000 to go before we can get to our million. Hopefully we can get there in the next couple of hours. So I'll log in again in about an hour's time and check the progress at that particular point. We're at the next hourly checkup, and you'll see that there's been very little progress made in this hour. There's been a gain of about $30,000, and that's mainly been because of trading through the US Open, a very volatile time, and most probably not the best time to have used this particular EA. But as I say, I'm trading it on a set and forget basis actually, and we've just traded through the open of the US market with a couple of announcements behind it, and it has certainly impacted the profitability of the EA by trading through highly volatile times. In spite of that, it has been nicely positive, and we'll just go on and have a look at the next hour to see the progress that will be made. Trading seems to be progressing quite well, and a lot of wins, only one loss in the last couple of trades. So after the open of the US market, things seem to have settled down, and let's see if the next hour brings some improved profitability. Okay, we're at the next hourly checkup, and progress has been good. We're almost back to 100,000 per hour. The gains have been pretty good since the last checkup, almost an 80,000 gain. I think the market's settling down now and cashing in as per normal. So we should be getting past the halfway mark in the next hour. Back again, and all I can say is, oops. My sincere apologies. The EA was basically making 60,000 an hour, and I thought it was safe to go and catch a bit of shut-eye, and I've just come back to the trading, and as you can see, it's gone to 1.6 million. Apologies for letting that slip, and I'll obviously have to redo this. Clearly what it's doing, it's buying on the low of the candle and selling on the high of the candle. The sideways nature of the market that exists at the moment, which is between the US market and the Asian market, is clearly quite a good market to trade using this price feed, because this is what's happening, and that's why I got this unexpected gain. So let's have a look at what actually happened, and thank goodness I've got FX Blue to look at, and that's what we'll do next. I'm going to open FX Blue, and the first thing that you see is obviously there's the result that we've got. We're seeing that there's an overall success rate of about 73%, and we've just taken 5,000 to 1.6 million. And if you have a look at the analysis, we'll see that all the currencies were positive over that period. The CAD is a late entry. It's an experimental one. The other three are more tested currencies, and you can also see it in the results. The results are pretty good for those three. The CAD result is nicely positive, but not that great. The euro pound has a very nice profit factor, and is the most successful one out of the four. So we've learnt a bit about that. Now, where the real benefit will come is if we start looking at the stats, and gosh, I can't believe this has happened. Alright, so what we can do is we can look at the hour. Okay, that's good. Alright, so here's exactly what's happened since we started trading. In the first hour, as you can remember, we made $5,000. Then in the second hour, 15,000. Now, my cutoff points obviously weren't that good in the times that I looked at it, but in the second hour it says 15,000. Then in the third hour it went up to 73,000. Fourth hour 96,000, and then 53, and this is more or less where I decided that it might be a good idea to start getting a bit of shut-eye, because the progress was pretty slow. Then suddenly it started to explode and produced quite amazing results. 300,000 in that hour, another almost 300,000 in that hour, and this one is still running now. And the reason really, I think, is that this, firstly, the lot sizing was pretty small in the beginning, so that we can't really go by that lot sizing. It was still building up in an account, but at a certain point, it reached a point where it was using the maximum lots that this broker would allow. So from that point on, and I would say it's from about that level, we're trading the same number of lots for every trade. So what this says is that firstly, the quieter times, the US afternoon and the close of the US market are the times to trade this EA, because the market is going sideways and the price feed still produces quite enough volatility to generate tradable trades for this EA. So that's where the interesting part comes in, I'm actually tempted to just let it run for another couple of hours so that we can get statistics on this, and I will actually do that. I'll just let it run and see. Now, I must confess, I've only traded this EA for the third time, and every time I've traded it has been a complete success, and that's why I've had the confidence to make this video. So let's have a look at what other information we can squeeze out of this analysis. And let's go to the analysis. Okay, so we've determined that the euro pound has most probably been the most efficient currency to trade. The euro yen has been the most profitable one to trade, and the CAD is profitable, but most probably the least attractive currency under this in this bunch. So let's go and have a look at the pip. Okay, so the statistics have actually calmed down a little bit since the previous time we looked at these statistics. Now we have an average win of 2.7 overall. For these four, we have an average win of 2.7 pips. And that's the scalping nature of this. Remember, there's a 1 pip spread, so the broker has earned one pip of all of these transactions, and that is the net win. Then the average loss is on average 1.9. So there's 1.9 pips have been paid as the average loss. And you can see again with the Canadian, it's had a much higher average loss than the others. So clearly those other currencies are the better ones to trade. But they and in fact there's a loss there, but it's because of the success rate of the Canadian, it has been profitable. But the others actually have a gain over their losses. There's a 1 pip gain there, there's only half a pip gain there, and there's a half a pip gain there. So really quite interesting statistics. But being a scalping approach that we're using at the moment, these statistics are critical, because the slightest movement here will change these statistics completely. And if you're relying on half a pip type of statistics, it is quite important that everything runs absolutely perfectly to make a profit. So we have literally made 1.6 million on a differential of only half a pip for some of the currencies and a 1 pip for the other one, and it just shows you what lot sizing and a good success rate can do. We did look at the success rates. There they are, and the euro franc poor success rate compared to its other trading partners. Okay, so that's quite an early morning shock for me. I must apologize for that. I've messed this presentation up a little bit, but I most probably will redo it. And I think what would be good if I do redo it, if you could send any questions, comments, remarks for this particular video, so that I can incorporate those comments, questions and remarks in my next video when I do something similar. Now, when you look at the statistics on FX Blue, you can actually download the statement. So you click here and you can actually download the statement. You can also see all the orders that have been placed. These are the open ones running at the moment, but if you click here, you can also see all the closed ones. So there's a record of all the closed deals that have taken place. The first deal, as we know, started at 3:14, and the last deal that we're looking at right now, the time now most probably, is 16:27. So in the space of 13 hours, this EA produced 1.6 million. I hope you found this interesting. Please go to part 3 of this video, It will contain quite a lot of additional information, and also we want to progress this exercise a little bit further.
Oh, that was pretty exciting. But before you all rush off to buy yachts on the Mediterranean, I think there's a couple of things that you need to know. This EA is a pretty sound EA. It uses sound trading principles. It has small losses compared to its target in all time frames. So it's pretty robust, and the trading principles are sound. But here's the disclaimer. Very important that you listen to this. Sorry to disappoint you, but the results shown have been produced on a demo account using paper money. Now, there are many reasons for this, and let's go through them. Finding a broker where the real account or the live account mirrors the demo account is an almost impossible task. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. So there's very little chance of this happening, and I don't want to mislead you in any way in that respect. The scalping aspect of this EA may not work on a live account. One has to use extraordinary means to find a broker that meets the requirements of this particular EA for scalping purposes. The name of the broker used in this exercise can be found on the list of brokers that FX Blue tracks on their tracking system. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose the name of this particular broker. The other aspect is that producing $1 million in a couple of hours cannot be done on a practical basis. No matter what is stated, you are essentially trading against the broker in many cases. And when the broker notices this kind of activity, there will be some technical reason why things won't progress. So the way to do this is to open a number of accounts and use them on a number of brokers and trade them in a very conservative way, and withdrawing the money on a consistent basis so that your risk to the broker is reduced considerably. It would be crazy to have $1 million in one broker account. There are also technical reasons, like brokers have maximum lot sizes that don't apply on demo accounts, which allowed us to push the gains up to $1 million. But making 1 million gains is certainly possible, but it has to be managed by using many brokers, many accounts, and doing it in a much slower way than I did. Now, the true magic behind Forex trading is the leverage. You can get a leverage as high as 1,000 to 1. In the States, only 50 to 1, but that leverage, even at 50 to 1, allows you to create amazing gains. The other magic behind this system is obviously the EA, which is incredibly efficient at finding turning points in the market. And I hope you found it interesting, thought-provoking. If you've liked this video, please share it with your friends.
Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and a reminder that the clickable links of the items mentioned in the video will be in the description of the video as well as in the first commentary. So all that's left for you now is to go and download this EA and go and play with and experiment with it. So from me, Alex Deploy, cheerio.